We have a couple of isolated showers out there this afternoon, which will linger into parts of the evening. But overall, the overnight time frame is pretty quiet. We may see a bit of patchy fog, though, up in northeastern KELOLAND in a couple of areas. Low 50s and a couple of 40s for overnight low temperatures for good measure. That'll set us up for a nice day on Tuesday. Just like today, isolated showers not out of the question. The further east you go, well, it's another seasonable day on the thermometer. We'll talk about the rest of your forecast in a little bit, but until then, First at 4 starts right now.
Live from KELOLAND Media Group, KELOLAND News First at 4.
We talk with authorities in Vermilion about investigating yet another sexual assault on campus of the University of South Dakota.
Plus, the 437 project has wrapped up, raising hundreds of thousands of dollars to help people struggling with thoughts of suicide.
And later, we talk with professors and students in KELOLAND about the excitement around a mission to bring asteroid fragments to Earth. Good afternoon, and thanks for tuning in to First at 4. I'm Don Jorgensen.
And I'm Kelly Volk. More than $250,000 will now go toward preventing suicide thanks to the 437 project. The multi-day run across South Dakota wrapped up on Sunday. A dozen people made the journey to raise awareness about mental health.
And one of those people was Lisa Larson of Mitchell, who became perhaps the spiritual leader for the runners. As the group reached Mitchell, she received quite the reception.
It was so overwhelming. I don't even remember all of it because it was so awesome.
You're going to hear much more from Larson coming up on KELOLAND News at 6, and we'll also hear from her teammates.
I think they got a mixed bag of weather while they were.
I think so, yeah. I drove out to the hills this weekend and drove through fog, drizzle, rain. It was lightning.
A little bit of everything out there.
Unfortunately, there's just a little bit of something now, more of nothing than anything else. We do have a couple of showers to talk about, especially in southwestern Minnesota now. There's live Doppler radar behind me. You can see those little bits of rain making their presence known. Not much coming out of a large majority of this, with one small exception being a cell that moved right along the South Dakota-Minnesota border and is now headed toward Rock Rapids right now. Beyond that, Del Rapids, southwest of Hartford, a bit of a moderate shower in both of those locations. Not really lasting all that long. Also, you notice no lightning associated with any of this. So just some rain, more of a nuisance than anything else. It is going to eventually get on out of here as we go through the next couple of hours. There's Lake Madison. Beautiful view along the water as we kick things off this hour. 70, north wind at 13 miles per hour. Aberdeen also looking pretty nice, too, from the campus of Northern State. 71 and a light northerly breeze at 8 miles per hour. We're sitting in the 70s in many locations west river, unless you're in Custer, you're at 69 degrees. 73 Spearfish and Faith, 77 Rapid City and Phillips, 74 here in Sioux Falls, 64 though in Ortonville, 65 Sisseton, 71 in Huron, as well as Pierre. Now those little pinwheeling scattered showers are due to the same area of low pressure that just will not go away from yesterday, giving us those little scattered showers east river. There's just enough moisture, and this area of low pressure is just close enough to keep that in place for a little while longer. But this does eventually get out of here. The key word, though, is eventually. Overnight low temperatures tonight are expected to drop into the upper 40s and low to mid 50s. Some patchy fog here and there, with highs tomorrow climbing mainly into the 70s in southeastern KELOLAND. A couple of upper 60s toward Brookings and Marshall. More of the same up to the northeast, upper 60s and a few low to mid 70s out there. A decent bit of sunshine, especially later in the day. And out west, we're talking about predominantly 70s for high temperatures, more so out toward the hills and along the Wyoming border. We'll go through the rest of your 7-day forecast, which features a look at the first couple of days of October coming up as we head through the hour.
Thanks, Adam. Aberdeen police are offering a $1,000 reward for information about a hit and run that hurt 2 children. Authorities say about 8:30 Friday night, a group of kids on their bicycles were crossing 6th Avenue Southeast at State Street. Officers say a dark-colored Chevy pickup didn't stop for a red light and hit 2 of the children. One was taken to the hospital with serious injuries. Witnesses described the pickup as having a loud exhaust, tinted windows, and possibly chrome trim accents. There is damage to the front bumper, and the driver's side mirror is missing. If you've seen this vehicle, call Aberdeen Police.
Well, the biggest issue law enforcement across the country is facing right now is staffing shortages. Some agencies are offering incentives to get more people to apply. When tragedies like the Algona, Iowa shooting happen, they say that it serves as a reminder of the dangers in this line of work. Bo Bauman with our CBS affiliate in Des Moines has the story.
I think the challenges today is just finding quality applicants that have a desire to serve in a law enforcement capacity.
Colonel Nathan Volk, head of Iowa State Patrol, says not only are there law enforcement staffing shortages across the country, the quality of candidates applying for those openings are worse than years prior. KCCI sent a short survey to several agencies across central Iowa. Atlantic Police Chief Devin Hogue says many applicants, quote, fail the physical standards set forth by the state and the ILEA. And out of those who pass, we end up with more who fail the written examination. Volk says that creates a challenge because their standards for hiring won't change.
We have seen a reduction in applicants based on our higher standards and our desire to not, lower our standards to maintain a good workforce.
Officer Kevin Cram's death in Algona can also take a toll on policemen, deputies, and troopers. Some say these tragedies may deter candidates, but it's important to tell them up front that it's not an easy job. Madison County Sheriff Jason Barnes writes, it's an extremely dangerous job and you're not promised anything at the end of the day. It also has its good points that I feel far outweigh the bad.
In some of the most challenging times, it's difficult to navigate those conversations, those encounters. So we just ask, the public to be patient with us, and we'll do our best to be patient with them.
Hey, sir, how you doing?
Volk and the State Patrol are offering some incentives, like trooper pay, while recruits are still in the academy. Others, like Marion County Sheriff Jason Sandhold, are offering signing bonuses. He says, quote, we need people who want to help and protect the public for the honor of serving and not for the paycheck.
It's truly competition, and who's got the best support, resources, pay, benefits, and who's going to stand behind it.
Bo Bowman, KCCI 8 News, Iowa's news leader.
Algona officer Kevin Cram was laid to rest last week. The man accused of shooting and killing him made his first court appearance a day later.
The process of setting up the Office of Cannabis Management in Minnesota has gotten off to a rocky start. The agency's new director withdrew after a day over allegations her company had sold cannabis products that are not legal. Now, according to the new state law, marijuana is not supposed to be legal to sell until the Office of Cannabis Management is up and running. And that won't be until early 2025. However, there is an argument that selling cannabis should be legal right now because of the obscure clause in the Minnesota Constitution. That clause, adopted in 1906, says people can sell products from a farm or garden without obtaining a license. The advocacy group Marijuana for Minnesota has begun the process of a legal challenge to make the sale of homegrown marijuana legal immediately.
Well, this week, South Dakota Lieutenant Governor Larry Roden and DANR Secretary Hunter Roberts are leading a trade delegation to Mexico. They will participate in meetings with buyers, ag leaders, and government officials. Mexico is the state's second largest trade partner, with an export value of approximately $600 million in 2022. State officials say that trade with Mexico supports over 13,000 jobs in the state. South Dakota's highest value exports include distiller grains, pork, beef, and soybeans.
The Biden administration announced nearly $1.5 billion will go toward rail safety. In South Dakota, the Sisseton-Millbank Railroad Modernization Project will receive nearly $25 million. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg says the projects will benefit dozens of communities where railroads are located and strengthen supply chains. Railroad safety has become a concern nationwide since a Norfolk Southern train derailed in Ohio, in February and caught fire after spilling hazardous chemicals. The White House says a possible government shutdown would undermine railway safety.